Hello friends, and welcome to today's video. This video is episode 45 of my knitting podcast, a knitting journal, where I show you everything that I've knit, what I've finished, and what I am working on. So grab something comfy, maybe grab something to work on. I'm sipping on my coffee still this morning, and let's see what I've been up to. Hello friends, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name is Kristen. I am the maker behind DoSo Knits, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for sitting down and knitting with me today. I have a good amount of things to show you. As always, show notes for everything I talk about is linked down below in the description box. I link to my Ravelry project pages where you can see more details, and I link to my social links as well. You can find me other places. I am DoSo Knits on both Instagram and Ravelry, in addition to being here on YouTube. Before we get into the knitting, I do have a little bit of admin that I would like to get out of the way. The first is what I am wearing today. This is a sweatshirt with a design designed by one of my best friends, Courtney. And so this design, it says I practice stitchcraft, and has just this really cute, stitchy, witchy, knitty design. Courtney has started designing these crochet and knit themed, witch themed designs. She's opened an Etsy shop where you can go and buy these designs on different items as you'd like, and I just wanted to show you her designs because she is one of my dearest friends and I love the designs she has started to make. I'm wearing the I Practice Stitchcraft in the sweatshirt in the olive color because I love green. Also, I am definitely a sweatshirt person and not a hoodie person, so I get the ones without a hood. What are you? I feel like this is a real divide. I feel like you're either a hoodie or a sweatshirt person. I definitely like the no hood, and I would say this runs true to size. I looked at the size chart and it fit perfectly. So if you'd like, please go check out her designs. Courtney is the reason this YouTube channel exists. I'm just gonna put that out there. When I was in Germany, Courtney and I worked together, and Courtney would knit on her lunches, and I hadn't knit for a couple years, and so I saw her knitting and was like, I want to pick that back up. And so because of Courtney, I re-picked up knitting. Courtney is the reason I endeavored into knitting socks because she gave me the encouragement to do it. Courtney introduced me to indie dyers and knitting podcasts, and I just went down the rabbit hole. And it was probably a few months of like delving into this. Courtney went to Ireland and got me some Studio Darnagal yarn, and I knit a hat, and I just like sunk my teeth back into knitting and started watching podcasts, and a few months afterward I started DoSo Knits. So I don't know. Courtney is the reason all of this, I think, has started, so I would like to support her any way that I can. So if you like one of her designs, please buy one, because Courtney is the reason I do this, and I thank you so much, Courtney, for inviting me to be your friend and knitting with you on lunches, and all of this is because of my friendship, and yeah. Anyway, that's probably a little, people ask a lot about my knitting background, and that's probably why this channel started, was I started watching podcasts because of Courtney and wanted to start my own. Anyway, so that's that. Please check it out. Additionally, DoSo Knits has opened a spread shop. So with that, I have also come up with my designs. I've come up with my DoSo Knits logo, and I've made a logo for the year of Stash KAL that I am hosting this year. And you can go on Spreadshop and you can look at all the items there. I've put up things like t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, all that kind of good stuff, dog bandanas, because we know I have a dog in my life. If you have a dog in your life, maybe you want to get him a cute bandana. So that is there as well. So if you'd like some merch, it's linked. It should be just linked right below the video because I figured out how to do that with Google and YouTube. So it's there. So if you'd like a DoSo Knits logo or a Year of Stash KAL logo on anything, it's there. And Spreadshirt's nice because you can go and customize. You can add text. You can you know, you could add your Instagram handle, you can add other words, or you can search through Spreadshirts, Elements, and customize the design more. So if you buy anything, please tag me at DoSoKnits on Instagram. Show me your unboxings. I would love to see what you guys get. And if there's anything missing, let me know and I can see if Spreadshirt offers it and I can add it. I did try to just kind of add most of the items that they offer so that you have a good variety. There was only a few, like I tried to not include white items with the white text and tried not to include like black items with the black text. But other than that, they should all be up there, but let me know if there's anything that you would like to see and I can work on it. Or if there are any sayings or anything else that reminds you of DoSo Knits, let me know because I can make a design with, you know, a catchphrase that I say. I don't know if there are any words that I say that are like reminiscent of this channel, but let me know down below. I'd love to do some more designing. And yeah, that's all about the spread shop and Courtney's design. Please check them out if you would like. And then I do have one final admin thing. In my February stash updates video, the winner that I announced for the February stash knit along, the winner hasn't contacted me yet, so please make sure you go check out that video, see if you won the giveaway, if you submitted any FOs for February, and please reach out to me if you are the winner so I can give you your prize. Anyway, that should be all the admin here up front, so let's dive into what I have finished since the last podcast episode. So it's been about 3 weeks since the last podcast episode. Because of the February stash updates, it kind of shifted things a little bit just so I could get that out at the beginning of the month. But I have finished a few small projects. I still have quite a few big projects on the needles that I didn't get off my needles in February, but I will show you what I have. So the first thing that I finished is a Lyle Cap by Nancy Ekfall. So this is a free pattern that was written for Blue Sky Fibers, and Needles at the Ready podcast have talked about it many times, and I'm glad they did because I knit it and I'm very in love with this hat. So this is what I did. I obviously, do you know what my favorite color is? It's a good olive green. So this is the hat that I have finished. It is knit for my brother. So my brother asked for a olive green hat, and I had this in my stash and I thought it would be the perfect time to knit this pattern. And I followed it pretty exactly to pattern. I did do 7 rounds of the ribbing, and the pattern calls for 5. So I just did a few extra rounds, and then I knit an extra inch, so 8 inches before I started doing the crown decreases. I used the needle size called for in the pattern because I figured my brother has a pretty average head, so it should fit, even if I was a little bit looser. And I used my blue Chow Goose to make a circular needle, and then switched to magic loop for the top. It has some like gathered kind of decreases versus a like real uniform. And yeah, this is knit in Destination Yarn Souvenir, and the color is olive. It is the DK base. It's 100% superwash merino, and when I was knitting this, it was a little crunchy. Crunchy isn't the right word, but it wasn't super soft. It wasn't super drapey, wasn't super soft, but as soon as I blocked it, you can see now it is like super drapey and super lovely. I think my brother's gonna like it. I sent him a picture of it when I finished and was like, I finished your hat, and once I podcast, you will have it. And I think he's pretty excited. So I think it looks pretty nice. It's got some really nice drape, and I knit this pattern exceptionally quickly. I started this on the 14th of February and finished it on the 19th. So pretty quickly. It wasn't the only thing I was working on. And I used 55 grams total for the pattern. So you probably could almost get 2 hats out of one skein of DK, especially if you don't lengthen it like I did. Or you could do another one with like a contrasting ribbing and then knit the body in another color, and you could almost probably get 2 hats. So yeah, that is my Lyle Cap by Nancy Ekfall that I have finished. I must have then been on a sock kick because I started another hat. So I teach a brioche class. I use the Harlow Worsted to teach basic brioche in the round. And so I cast on this hat to teach that class. So this is my Harlow Worsted by Andrea Mowry. This will be my third one that I have knit, and something about this pattern was just so addictive. So this is what my hat looks like. Very different colored versus the green one. So the Harlow Worsted is a worsted weight 1x1 brioche hat, where you can use one color on the outside and then another color on the inside. So I did like a two-tone red Harlow Worsted hat. I do go down a needle size for this pattern, so I use a US 4 and a US 5, and I believe the pattern calls for a 5 and a 6. You just do the first couple inches on a size smaller, so it's a little snugger, although I don't know how much my gauge changes when I actually switch those needle sizes. But other than that, I followed the pattern exactly. I did the decreases when I was supposed to. This is a medium size. The two colors that I used are, the outside is Cascade 220 in the color Red Wine. And that I bought from a local yarn shop here in Denver called Not Just Yarn. And then I used leftovers of my Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Firecracker Heather, which is also a non-superwash from Knit Picks. And this was left over from Shane's Montrealer that I knit for him. On his Montrealer, there's a stripe here, and I did a Firecracker Heather as his stripe. Now, because of that, Knit Picks Wool of the Andes are 50 gram skeins, and I used about 15 grams for his stripe. So I had 35 grams left, and this pattern said I would need more, basically. So I was pretty sure I was gonna play some major yarn chicken. I was pretty sure I was gonna run out and then do like a color block where I was just gonna use the Cascade color on both sides for the last bit. But I won yarn chicken. I had 1 gram of worsted weight wool of the Andes left. 1 gram. But 1 gram, probably like this much. It was so little, but I won yarn chicken, and I really like this hat. Something about brioche is just really lovely to knit because you are slipping and then knitting every other stitch, but you switch colors every round, and it's really lovely. So it's so squishy. So I think this hat is going to be for Shane. He has called it, and yeah, that is my Harlow Worsted by Andrea Mowry. I knit this in 5 days. So, and then I have one more finished object since the last time, and these are my DoSo Dyeworks socks for February. These are my finished pair of socks. These took me almost all of February. I started these February 1st and finished them February 25th. They took a very long time. They were just, I don't know, they took a while. But I used just a vanilla sock pattern. I would say most of it is probably similar to Vanilla Socks on 9-inch Circulars by the Crazy Sock Lady, because I do use the heel flap from there. The only thing different is the toe. I use the toe from Huga Canyon's sock patterns. So I did a 2x2 cuff for 20 rounds. I did quite a long leg. I'm unsure how long it is, but I just did 2 repeats of this striping pattern. I did a heel flap and gusset, a foot to fit my husband Shane, and then the toe from Huga Canyon's patterns. I knit these on a US 0 2mm needle and in DoSo Dyeworks yarn. So the main color is Slinky, which I think does stripe up really cool. It's cool to have these like short stripes and then the really long one. And then I did an accent color from DoSo Dyeworks of Charcoal. And I really love how these socks turned out, but I think I went into the month very eager. I said I was going to do a long cuff, I did a long leg, and then Shane has a really long foot just in general. So, I mean, okay, it's not the longest foot, but it's long compared to mine. So these just felt like they took a while. I did do 60 stitches for him because it does fit a little bit better, but for the heel flap, because I used the heel flap from Kay's vanilla sock pattern, I did the heel flap over 32 stitches, which is 2 more than half of the 60. And what I do is I just do it over the 32, and then when I decrease in my gusset decreases, I just decrease back down to 60 stitches instead. And yeah, I'm pretty excited with how these turned out. I think they look pretty nice, and he'll be happy to have them. A nice long pair of socks. Yeah, I really do like working on socks. I like having socks with me all the time. I think these stalled out, and the reason they take so long is because in my brain, I kind of think of socks as I can take them on the go. And so when I'm at home, I want to work on projects that are more like need more focus, and I don't often pick up my socks. But in February, we really weren't going out and doing a whole lot, and I would work on these when we would go out to dinner or other things like that, but they just still took quite a long time. I will say, I guess it did work out because I did still finish them in the month, even if we weren't going out that much. I will say the second foot was done mostly because I was like, can we please go to a movie because I need to get some sock knitting done. So we went and saw the new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, and I was able to do a good chunk of the second foot to finish because I really needed some just like 2 hours of dedicated knitting time, and that's why I love going to the movies. So these are done. I am happy they're done. They're on my Bryce spun sock blockers that I got from Jimmy Bean's Wool, I think. Jimmy Bean's Wool and Webb's, I think, both have these. So I really do like them. I need to get, these are the size medium. I think I need to get the size large for Shane's socks because they're just slightly too short, both in the leg and the foot. So I will need to order another pair, but for now this size works. And that's all of my finished objects since the last time I recorded. 3 small accessories, and yeah, so let's move into what I've been working on over the last couple weeks. So we're going to start small because it is closer to me right now. I have started my project for the Desert Vista Dye Works in March. So the Desert Vista Dye Works knit along is you can knit socks or some other small accessories. So this month I just really was not feeling socks. I feel some deadline pressures from my test knit that I'm testing for Samantha Guerin, and I'm testing another secret test knit that I can't talk to you guys, or I can't show you guys until it's released. So I have some deadlines for March. So I just know how long the February socks took me, and I really just wanted a quick project to get on and off my needles so that I could be done for Desert Vista Dye Works for March. So I have cast on a pair of Fire Pit mitts by Taylor Earl. And if you've watched the Wool Needles Hands podcast, which if you haven't, don't watch me, please go watch Taylor. Taylor is amazing. She's talked about these extensively and how she's kind of wanted to knit more of them, and she's been knitting more. And these weren't necessarily like on my radar, but when I was trying to think of something to do this month, I was rereading through what kind of projects you could knit for the Desert Vista Dye Works knit along, and one of them is fingerless mitts as long as you have a long arm. And that's basically what Taylor's Fire Pit mitts are, fingerless mitts with a long arm, and I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is going to be perfect. So I am using the color Wind in the Willows by Desert Vista Dye Works, and it's the Viso base, which is a fingering weight 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's a self-shaping yarn, and I caked it up and then re-caked it into 2 50-gram cakes. I then found where the color changes were the same, found where they changed at the same time, and that's where I started my cast on and did a long tail cast on. And this is my mitt. I cast this on 2 nights ago and finished it yesterday morning. I finished it in less than 24 hours, and I really didn't spend that much time working on it. It is just so quick. Now, I am using Taylor's pattern more as a recipe versus following the pattern exactly, and here's why. The pattern is written for worsted weight. I'm holding fingering weight double to get a DK, so my gauge is going to be slightly different. Because I'm doing more of a DK gauge, I am doing a size medium for myself when I would do a size small because I have little hands. So I'm doing a size medium because I know my stitches are probably going to be smaller to get a nice tight fabric. I'm also using a US 5 and the pattern calls for a US 7. But I really love how these turned out. So you cast on and you knit like a nice long arm, then you taper it, and then you knit until you get to your thumb gusset. You are supposed to knit before the thumb gusset 13 inches, but that just felt really long for me personally. This right now, from the thumb to the end, goes up to my elbow, basically, which is perfect. I don't need it to go past my elbow. So then I did the thumb gusset, and I did not re-pick up stitches and then knit my thumb. I just wanted this to just end at my thumb, and then I knit this. I think this is a little bit longer than what's called for. I think it's about 3 inches and the pattern calls for a little bit less, but I really love how it looks out. It turned out. This can roll down a little bit, which I think is nice, and I really love them. I'm banking on that since this is superwash, it will grow just a smidge when I go to block them. Because like right now, this can fit, I have a long sleeve shirt on under my sweatshirt. It can fit over a long sleeve shirt, but it couldn't fit over my sweatshirt, which I think is fine. This will be nice for, like right now the weather is perfect for like sweatshirt and jeans, which is my happy place. But I know at some point it'll be more like a long sleeve shirt and no sweatshirt. And so then I could do like a long sleeve shirt and long fingerless mitts. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone color-wise for accessories, but we'll see. If I ended up not wearing them, I can give these as gifts. I think they'll be perfect. I really just love the colors, and I'm really happy with how I did my color change. You can definitely see there are places where they marl a little bit. Let me see if I can find one. I think the white is the easiest. So it's not perfect. You can see here where it kind of marls a white and a green, and then it kind of transitions in. But overall, when you look at the whole mitt, I think it looks okay. So this is so fast. This is exactly what I needed. I spent a couple hours on 2 evenings ago, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2. We watched a couple episodes of the show she and I are watching together, and then I, in the morning, worked on this and bound it off. It was so fast. I am making it a little bit shorter, and I'm not doing the actual thumb, so you know, I am taking a little alternate route, you would say, I guess, but I am really excited with these, and it's exactly what I needed. This I can still take on the go, and I'm ready to cast on the second one. I haven't cast it on yet. I will probably pull out the yarn to try to start at this same color. I started at the change for this color brown, and I bound off at this brown. So I'll have to rip out one green stripe to get to that stripe to cast on. So they're not too bad. So I'll rip out that green stripe and then start at the same color. And then these will be done the next time I podcast. Probably, definitely before. Very excited. Love these. Highly recommend that pattern. Taylor has both like a really long arm and like a shorter arm. And I can definitely see this being something easy to throw on when I go outside to walk Sherlock, especially once it warms up just a smidge, but it's not super warm yet. And when I'm working on my computer, my hands get really cold, but sometimes I don't always want a sweatshirt on inside, so this will be great when I'm like typing and working at my computer. So yeah, that is my Fire Pit Mitts by Taylor Earl. I love them. I'm excited to start the second one. I am doing them not on Magic Loop or DPNs. I'm using my blue Chow Goose, a US 5. I've been using these a lot lately. I have all the cables occupied because I have 2 sleeves on the needles and then this. So I've been really loving these tiny circulars from Chow Goose. All right, and then we have the main thing that I've been working on because it is a test knit and I'm feeling the deadline. This is my Heritage Harbor that I'm test knitting for Samantha Guerin. It is a worsted weight drop shoulder sweater. I am knitting the size 6, which is a 52-inch bust. And the last time I showed it to you, I hadn't joined in the round. I was still working on the fronts to then join, and I have had a lot of progress over the last 3 weeks. So this is where it's at. It's kind of hard to see at this point, so I will try to get another photo if I can. I have gone and picked up the collar, and I did the folded over collar option. So I've knit the collar and seamed it down. And then I have gone, I obviously joined in the round and I knit a couple inches on the body. Basically I knit on the body until I ran out of a main color skein. And then I jumped over to my sleeves and my collar. I just wanted a little bit of a break, and then if I am running short on the contrast color or anything, I can just knit the body however long I need to and know that my sleeves and collar are going to be okay. So I knit the body until I ran out of the main color skein, and the yarn I'm using is what the pattern is written in. It's North Bay Fibers Heritage, which is a woolen spun worsted weight. My main color is chestnut, and my contrast color is walnut. Last time in the video, I know it looked very, very yellowy brown. This looks a little more true. It's more this like really pretty, gorgeous brown. So it is still a yellowy brown, but it's not as yellow as it was in that last video. This is what it looks like. I did end up knitting the sleeve that is called for my size in the pattern. I had knit it shorter like I had mentioned I was going to, because based on another sweater in my wardrobe, I thought I could do a 14-inch circumference. I did that and I tried this on and it just felt so snug. It was like really in my armpit. Even with the drop shoulder, it's a little hard to tell because obviously the shoulder is a bit down, but I don't know. It just felt really tight. So I ended up ripping back, re-knitting both the fronts and back the inch longer. So it's 8 or so inches, maybe 8 1/4 for my sleeves on each side. So it's a bit longer. But I then picked up the sleeves, knit this first one. Now, when I first knit this, and if you saw my Instagram, I got to about here, halfway past the second stripe, and this color for the collar, you can kind of see it. It's a little different. North Bay Fibers, they're all hand dyed, so there's obviously national variation, and they give you a card saying that too. Like obviously best practice is to alternate skeins. But they all look in the skein pretty similar. So I'll show you, like these are the two skeins. On camera, I think you can see it a bit more, but even so, they look pretty similar, but this one is darker, especially when I started working on that sleeve. So I text Courtney and I was like, what do you think? Should I rip it back? And we had a whole conversation, and I had thought about just ripping it to the beginning of this color, and then I just ripped back completely and I restarted the sleeve, and I'm much happier that I have. So I did knit a lot of the sleeve, ripped it back, and then started over. But this is my sleeve, and then I did use the darker color in the cuff. I don't know if you can tell. It's there, but in the cuff and the collar, I feel like it was less noticeable, but at the beginning of the sleeve, it looked dark. So in the cuff and collar, it's fine, but on the top of the sleeve, no. My sleeve is 2 inches shorter than what's called for in the pattern. You're supposed to knit to 14 inches and I knit to 12. I must have short arms. I know I am short-waisted, so if I have short arms, that's probably in conjunction. So that is my sleeve, 5 stripes, and I have started on the second sleeve. I think I'll finish this probably tonight. I have done 4 of the brown stripes. I have to do 5. So I'm very, very close, and then 4 inches of ribbing on the cuff. So I'm very close. This little stitch marker is a Totoro from Simply Serving. I love him. He gets moved every day so I can see how much I've done. So this is what I was able to do this morning while watching podcasts and drinking my coffee. I sit there for a while. It's not super quick. So even though it looks like a lot, I sit there for quite a while. And again, I'm using my ChalGoo tiny circulars on this. I am using a US 5 for the body overall, which is a size down from what's called for. And then I'm using a US 3 for the collars and cuffs. So I actually have my red ChalGoo shorties for the cuff ready to go. And yeah, once I finish the sleeves, I will go back to the body. Right now it's on barber cords, so it's really easy for me to I left it on the barber cord, so that way when I was knitting the sleeve, I could easily try it on, check the sleeve length. If I had left it on my knitting needles, it would have been a lot harder to try on. So yeah, I like doing that. I think that's served me really well. So before I bind off the second sleeve, I'll try them on, make sure they both look okay with both of the weights, and then I'll get my body back on the needles and knit it. I still don't know how long I'm going to knit the body. It's called for a full length. I might do a slightly cropped because I always wear high-waisted pants, but I'm not sure. What do you think? It is a drop shoulder, oversized slightly. It's not super oversized. I don't know. I might just try it on and see what looks nice with my high-waisted jeans. I don't want a super crop, but maybe not completely full length because I am short-waisted. So either way, I probably will have to shorten it slightly from what's called for in the pattern. But doesn't it look so good? My muted Charlie Brown sweater. I love it. I'm super excited about this. So yeah, I have the pattern release should be end of this month. Make sure you follow Samantha for it. I love this drop shoulder pattern because I was looking for a drop shoulder pattern that was top down and could not find one that I liked. So I feel like this is going to be my perfect drop shoulder recipe. Because I could easily knit it again without stripes and without this. I think it's seed stitch or mod stitch, I'm not sure which one. You could easily knit it without those and just knit a plain stockinette all around drop shoulder sweater. I don't know, it's just perfect. I'm loving it, and it's quickly outgrowing my Cocoa Knits craft caddy. This is what I just carry it around in all day. It's still nice because I can still hold the handle, but it's getting less squished. I may have to switch it to another project carrier in the future. So that's all my knitting finished objects, but I do want to give you guys a little update on my spinning. So if you don't necessarily care about the spinning, this is all the knitting so far. But last time I showed you my Malabriga Nube that was on the bobbins, and I have since plied it, and this is what it looks like. Da da da! I'm really excited about this. I think this is my first usable yarn. So I ended up doing a 3-ply because I had 3 bobbins, and I'll give you a nice close-up. And overall, someone asked how I'm tracking my spinning, and so what I'm doing is I have these tags and I'm writing information on them. And in Ravelry, you can take pictures of your fiber, and then you can say start a hand spun project, and then you can put all of your information in there. So I've started doing that. So all of my hand spun notes are also digital on Ravelry because it has the feature, so I'm going to use it. So this is Malabriga Nube. It was originally 114 grams, 4 ounces. It's 100% superwash or 100% merino wool, not superwash, and it's 3-ply. So after washing, I have 362 yards, and it's 400 or 14 wraps per inch. So it's roughly a fingering weight yarn for my 3-ply, which is crazy because I was aiming for more of a sport or DK. So the fact that I did thinner is pretty cool. So it's a 3-ply, and then I put more notes of I split the fiber into 3 33-gram sections, and then how I kind of broke them apart. And yeah, that's how this looks. So when you do a 3-ply, you have your 3 bobbins, and sometimes you're like twisting them together. And obviously there's a good chance one of your bobbins is going to run out of yarn before another. And that's what happened. But then you can do a thing called a chain ply, where you use one bobbin, twist it on itself, and to make a 3-ply. So that's what I tried practicing with the leftovers. So this was the remainder. I did a 3-ply. This one is also 14 wraps per inch. This is 10 grams and about 45 meters. And I was able to just practice my chain ply with the remaining bobbins. And so the chain ply gets you like longer color transitions. So you can see like this is a really long dark blue versus this one is like marled all the way through. They kind of marl on each other. So 2 different practices. I'm excited with how this turned out. I think this is like my first yarn that I'm excited to knit with. I love it. So then I started another spin. I started spinning my Nest Fiber Club from January. And it was a Polworth base. So 100%, it was 4 ounces Polworth, and I wanted to do a fractal spin. So what that does is that if you have your giant, your giant thing of roving, and it changes colors like red, pink, blah, you rip it down and then you spin them in that order. And then you rip the other half in halves, and then you just go down, up, down, up. If that doesn't make sense, it's fine. Basically, you get one with really, really long color changes, and then your other bobbin gets shorter color changes. And then you apply them together, and it should be more of a color changing yarn. This is what I'm told. This spin was tough. It was the first time I was spinning across the top, which is how, like, if this is your piece of roving, you go back and forth to make sure that you don't just go down. You want to make sure you get the color. The self-striping sock might be a color. So if this is like my roving, you spin across the purple until you run out of the purple, and then you spin across the orange and then across the yellow so that your colors kind of stick together. And that's hard. At least it was hard with this base. I found the Polworth much tougher to spin compared to the Merino. And I knew that going in because Casey of Young Folk Knits spun Polworth, and I think she spun this exact same club and was like, it was tough. And my personal self was like, I'm up for a challenge. I'm gonna do it. It can't be that hard. It was hard. Just with the Polworth, I was finding it really hard to get the twist into the fiber. I felt like I had to spin really, really quick in order for it to like really twist on itself. So there's a lot of like really underspun. This one is a little bit better because this was the second bobbin I did. But this one you can see I had bits where, let's see, can I get it to focus? I had bits where I was really over twisted. This really big corkscrew. And then bits like this that are really under twisted. It got better near the end, which this is the end because on the outside is the end. But I ended up switching to my faster flyer, which means I could keep moving my feet at the same speed, but overall it spun faster, which I think ended up helping. Because otherwise I was like, I have to like slow my hands down so much in order to get the fiber to get enough twist in it, which just like was really difficult. I don't know. The Polworth felt like cotton candy and I couldn't get it to get twisted. But I feel like it'll be okay once I apply them together. I've been letting them rest and I'll probably end up applying this weekend and we'll see how it looks. I have no idea what this is going to be. These are not necessarily my colors. However, they're more my mom's colors. So I might, knit a hat or something else. So that is my other spin that I'm excited to dive into. I have started another spin. I have some of my merino silk on my wheel right now. I haven't done much spinning. Going from the Polworth to the merino silk is super slippery compared to the Polworth, which was super grippy. Anyway, the minutia of fiber and how they feel when you spin them. Anyway, that is all of the knitting and fiber content that I have to share with you guys today. This might be a slightly longer one from normal, but we'll see. I sometimes say that and it's still around that 40-ish minute mark that I tend to hit just naturally. Let me know what you've been working on down below. How was your February? Do you feel like you made some progress? And how are you feeling moving into spring and these warmer months? I can feel the need for some short sleeve shirts on my radar. I want to make a ranunculus. I want to make a salty air tee. There are a lot of things that are calling to me that were not originally on my plan. I don't have a lot of yarns for shorter sleeve shirts, so let me know. Are there anything calling to you? As always, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are not, so that you can help support the channel. It's free. And yeah, thank you for watching today. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. Let me know how everything is going for you down in the comments, and I will see you guys again very soon. Happy knitting, happy warmer months ahead, and have a great day.